Hi, this is Melanie at Pardesi Reviews, and I'm here to do a review of the Telugu and Hindi film Major, starring Adivi Sesh. If you're new to Pardesi Reviews, I do trailer reactions and film reviews of Indian cinema. So I have loved all the films of Adivi Sesh, and he is not only starring in this film, but the story and the screenplay, he wrote this film as well. It was inspired by the story of Major Sandeep Unnikrishnan and his heroism in the Mumbai hotel attacks. This story is framed around a speech that Major Sandeep's father is giving, played by Prakash Raj, and describing, so we're getting flashbacks to how he all, as a child was fascinated with uniforms and wanted to save people and always wanted to be in the military. So we have Revathi playing his mother and Prakash Raj playing his father. And we see his childhood crush on a girl from school named Isha, played by Saiee Manjrekar. About 45 minutes or so into the film is where things really take off with action. We see scenes of Sandeep in the military and his he was a training officer, see him training some other people. But once the terrorist attack begins, this film becomes a taut action thriller. And I have to admit, I have not seen, I know there are other movies based on this attack, and I have not seen them. So I didn't know the sequence of events that were going to happen, other than I knew going in that, Sandeep, Adivi Sesh's character, is a real person who really died that day in a, heroic last stand against the terrorists. So we know that going in. And it just has this emotional weight on you, knowing this, this really happened to this person. And he was a hero of this level. So that, but other sequence of events, I did, I jumped in my seat at certain people being shot and so forth. Because I wasn't ready. I didn't know exactly how all the events were going to unfold. So I think this is not a perfect film by any means, but Adivi Sesh, you did Major Sandeep Unnikrishnan proud. I know he worked with the real person's parents in helping to write this life story, this biopic of him. And I think, yes, he's kind of portrayed as this almost saint-like figure, but the man did sacrifice his life to save these hostages. So it's quibbling to say, oh, I wish we had seen, I don't know, some flaws in the man in the first half or something. That's not what this film was about. Especially the action sequences, I thought were done so well. And it has this emotional heft to it. I will just tell you that at the closing credits, they show real pictures from childhood, all the way through his life of Major Sandeep Unnikrishnan. And the audience in my theater, normally the minute the credits roll, people get up and they leave, right? They don't necessarily stay around. Everyone stayed until, the very end, when there were no more pictures of the real Major showing. And I was just so touched. I wanted to stay, but I was just so touched that everyone else in the theater, it was like we were all there. We were going to honor him and watch and see all these pictures of the real person. So it was just such a touching moment at the end, showing how the reaction of the whole audience in my theater to this film. I think this film is going to do really well. It's about this real life person who really did amazing things and sacrificed himself in such an amazing way. Now, one of the hostages that he goes up to rescue, who also has rescued a little girl, is played by Sobhita Dhulipala. and she's such a beautiful actress. But anyway, I thought she did an incredible job. I mean, there's one part where she's having to hang outside of this hotel window. I mean, like, she goes through her own art trying to save this English little girl. Then Murali Sharma plays Adivi Sesh's, Major Sandeep's commanding officer on the site at the hotel during the crisis. This is the same director that worked with Adivi Sesh on Gudachari. Sashi Kiran Tikka is the director of this film as well. So I watched the Telugu version, but it was also made in Hindi and so released because they thought especially North Indian audiences would be interested in seeing a film about this subject matter. I'm going to be really interested. I think this film is going to do extremely well. It reminds me in a way of Shershaw, but this is not a story that's on a battlefield. This is a story of terrorists in Mumbai in this hotel, and most of the action in the film is all within the confines of the hotel. I recommend you see this film. I think it's worth seeing in the theater and not waiting for streaming. If you've had a chance to see this film, I would love to know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Follow me on Twitter at PardesiYT. Follow me on Instagram at Pardesi Reviews. And if you hit the bell here when you subscribe, you'll never miss another trailer reaction or film review.